Join me with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you very much and welcome. First item on the agenda are the consent items, and the first one would be the approval of the regular meeting minutes of November 5th, 2018. Has everybody had a chance to look at them?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Do I hear a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes from November 5th, 2018.
Second.
All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, so moved. Action items A, B, and C, which are general fund vouchers, payroll vouchers, and water fund vouchers. The amounts, does somebody want to read the amounts? Just for the good of the order.
I can read them.
Okay.
General fund vouchers are $9,787.96. Payroll vouchers are $14,827.53. Water fund vouchers are $64.72. I would also move that we approve action items A, B, and C.
Do I hear a second?
I'll second.
All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 So moved. Thank you much. Commissioner reports. Who'd like to go first?
Let's see, I attended the Sergeant Oyster House, and I thought that was a great turnout, and it was very well done. Hands off to you and everybody else that helped pitch in. And also I learned more about the Oyster House and what it's going to take to get that thing out in the water and up on the pier. So it was very informational for me. I enjoyed it. I also, I think I can make this public. By accident, I ran into a gentleman by the name of Bob Pastor.
Yeah.
And what a neat person he is. Waiting for a tow truck, I think I spent about 2.5 hours with him. And he has a lot of knowledge on ports, and he was more than happy to share his knowledge with me. And with that, I reached out to the sheriff about the criminalization of marina rules. The sheriff said, what's going on? All the ports are contacting me about this. So we traded text messages back and forth. He had a function he had to go to. So it looks like it's moving forward. The other ports want the same thing. So maybe a unified front with all the ports meeting with the sheriff and get his perspective, and then the prosecuting attorney's perspective too. I think that's in a good direction. So It's just
Great.
not the Port of Allen. So.
Yeah, that means maybe we need a all ports meeting. We
I
talk about
think
it.
that'd be great. Yeah.
Sure, great.
Absolutely. Went to the monthly meeting, and then I went to the EDC board workshop, so we kind of mapped out the next year for Jennifer and her staff, and she did all the work, and we just kind of went over it and made changes to it as we saw fit, and that was it for my month.
Well,
Missed
good.
the Oyster House because I was in Vegas for my dad's 75th birthday,
Oh,
but
that's important.
yeah,
That's
I wished
good.
I could have been there.
Yeah, well, that was important. It did go really well. Obviously, that was one of the things he did, core support meeting. Been meeting with Mike Ross a few times a month, this last month. November 13th was my Oyster House meeting that I attended, and Mike's proposal, I think I'd mentioned that before, but he had, his proposal is that the port take the lead on the restoration and the relocation of the Oyster House, and the North Bay Historical Society taking the lead in the interior finishes and the museum piece of the Oyster House. I think we talked about that before, but just kind of formalizing that. Attended the PRTPO. The only update is that we're still working on the details of the transition with the Grays Harbor and with WashDOT. As you know, WashDOT was the administrator for PRTPO, and they're backing out, so we're going to hire Grays Harbor and then other attorneys as well from Kitsap County. Went to the North Mason, and then of course, November 17th, the meet and greet and the fundraiser. There was over 22 people that attended, so we got some donations. People came in and donated, which was great, but we did some auction items, and so it went really well. and we accomplished what we needed, just kind of meet and greet and introduce everybody, and it was good to see you there, Ted, too. I'm glad that you got a chance to go in and take a look, did you? Yeah, that's
Yes.
great. And then, of course, North Mason Community Voice, Randy gave some updates, and a couple of those updates, just for the good of the order, kind of, is talked about the roundabout, proposed roundabout up at Log Yard Road, and the thoughts behind that, and there's also a grant-funded needle exchange program up in Mason County now for users, and just to see if we can help clean things up. And also talked about the budget. The 29th, worked on the Oyster House personally with my guys, and we went and boarded up the interior and then put more Tyvek on. So there we go. At least it's secure for the winter. Travis, you're next.
All right.
Thank you.
So, hasn't been too bad this month. We got a new long-term payer down on the North Shore, which, you know, we always need money.
Yeah.
Got a chance to meet him. Seems like a pretty straightforward guy, and made sure he knew that he wasn't allowed to live aboard there, because hadn't seen him there ever. So he lives up the road.
Oh, good.
And then we've had 3 times this month I've had to kind of chase people out of the bathroom at night, and they're carrying cardboard and such. So we probably got slipping in a little bit of homeless sleeping in the park every now and then that I might be missing. But keep them moving along and find them when I can and tell them that, you know, they got to be somewhere else. Yeah. We also had one incident in particular where I tried to approach them at night, and they just started driving off as fast as they could, 25 miles an hour through the park, and I've got, documentation who they are, and I'll keep an eye out for them, and if I see them again, I'll just contact law enforcement, have them trespassed, because we can't have that. So.
Great.
Travis, I'm sorry, do we have a formal trespass form with the county?
We do not, as I am aware of, because I've tried to get people trespassed, and they just look at me like, well, we can't do it because, for various reasons, because they'll just get it knocked out of court. So it's something that we definitely need to work with. Basically, all that's ever happened is they come down and threaten to trespass them.
Right.
And I would like to see something along that nature, but I don't think we can do anything unless things are criminalized.
Yeah, but the trespass if they've caused problems on the port property, we could trespass.
We can get them trespassed, but I don't think they've got the knowledge that I'm the guy that says it's okay.
Right. Okay.
Something that we should probably work with.
Okay.
What do we need to do for that?
Well, what I do, or what I've done in the past, is we just have a simple form. Usually we identify the owner of the business, or, if it's a county or city park or county park, it's a city or county. And then it's just a document given to that person saying you're no longer welcomed on this property, and you're trespassed for a period of time or forever.
Right.
And then it goes into a system, and so it goes into the computer database with the county in this case. And so if they run across that person out of one of our properties, they say, well, he's been trespassed. Well, he's already been warned, then you write him a trespass ticket. And whether or not anything's done with that at court, who knows? So.
I was told by Officer Ellis at one time that I had to have a document with their name on it.
Correct.
And what it was is like, it's impossible for me to get that at 9 o'clock at night.
Right.
But if we have some kind of broad form that I can fill out right on the premises.
Yeah, usually the people that you're going to want to trespass are not going to be as cooperative as
They never are.
and they're not going to give you the full name and ask for ID and all that, and that puts you in a tough spot.
But with law enforcement present at the time,
Right.
they can take that information, and then I can put it on the form.
Okay,
Well, we could develop a form, that wouldn't be that hard.
I'll grab some templates.
That'd be great.
Travis, that new boat down there, has he moored there before? 'Cause it
No,
looked like a
he's not
familiar
moored there
boat.
before.
Okay.
He just paid as of this month, so
Okay.
we got all his information. He filled out our envelope perfectly, so
Nice.
we got everything we need from him.
Great.
Hey,
Thank
that's
you.
awesome.
Yep, you bet.
Thank you,
Thanks,
Travis. Okay, Larry,
All right.
you're on.
Water system issues. We had received a letter from the state prior to my employment at the port. It was never responded to concerning our water right. When I found out about it, I asked Northwest Water Systems to look into this and respond to the letter, which they did. We received an acknowledgement from the state and everything is in order for the foreseeable future. Yarac Community Utilities Proposal. We received a proposal from Yarac Community Utilities to purchase water from our system, since as a Class B water system, they are only allowed to draw 5,000 gallons a day from the same aquifer as we have the water right to. I sent their proposal to Joe Brogan to be vetted, got an email from him saying he recommended against us doing the sewer billing part of this that Mr. Carey proposed, and he wanted to talk to Jeff to clarify exactly what it was he was looking for and come to an understanding about what an agreement to sell water would encompass. I spoke with Joe late Friday as he had been out of the country and then hadn't connected with Jeff until just a few minutes before our phone call. He put something together for our review and have it to me sometime this week. Property purchase, as reported previously, state law requires we pay fair market value, which would be determined by a licensed appraiser. We had engaged a local residential appraiser who, after researching the property, reported back to me he is not licensed to appraise it because it's owned village commercial, not residential, although it's assessed for tax purposes as residential. I checked with a number of commercial appraisers and got a proposal for $3,600 from SH&H Appraisers in Tacoma and one from Schaefer, Sinnott, and Hernandez in Silverdale for $3,000. In the interest of full disclosure, I have personally used Schaefer, Sinnott, and Hernandez twice, once to appraise my commercial property in Port Orchard for a refinance, and again when it was taken through eminent domain by the city after I contested the valuation by Weststock's appraiser. I was happy with their work both times. Either way, I wanted to see what you all thought before making a commitment to spend that kind of money. I have included $5,000 plus another $3,500 for the appraisal review and the BFP grant application, but there's no guarantee we will get the grant, which means we'll be out of pocket on the appraisal if we don't. I'm of the opinion we should buy this property whether we get the grant or not. I've spoken with the owner who understands we'd like to purchase the property, but it isn't going to happen overnight. I explained about the grant funding we're seeking and told her that if it didn't happen, we'd be looking at other options. I did do the technical presentation for the grant earlier this month and felt it went very well. The feedback I got was all positive. Final presentation is due January 4th and I'll have it ready.
Do you have to make another presentation?
Yes.
Okay, January 4th?
It's due January 4th. They'll set a date after
Okay.
that.
Okay.
But
Let me know.
when you do the technical presentation, they send you a critique of it, of what you need to change and what would make it better. So I've got a few things to update on ours. Dock issues. As I previously reported that we had had a small fire, electrical fire on the dock. While there wasn't any major damage, I believe the pump out vendor was responsible to replace the wiring, even though we could not find any direct evidence that they had charged us for the installation. There's also some other damage that took place during Allen days that needs to be addressed as well. A piece of PVC conduit along the dock was smashed by a boat and had some exposed wire that had been temporarily repaired. Thankfully, it's all low voltage to operate the pump, but we shut it off until this is fixed. I met with the vendor and he has agreed to bear the cost of that repair, even though he is not directly responsible for it, and will bring the entire installation up to current code. We also looked at the fire damage as well as what would be necessary to repair the low voltage wiring. After physically tracking down what was under the dock and where the various lines go and where they are fed from, I've come to the conclusion the vendor was correct. They are not responsible for the substandard installation that caused the fire damage. Apparently, a former port maintenance employee did the 110 volt wiring to power the light at the end of the dock and a couple of receptacles. That was done prior to Don being here. I was under the impression the 110 volt line powered the pump out unit, but that is a separate 220 volt line. I did get the vendor to also agree to install a lockable 220 volt disconnect on the unit at the dock. Right now, if we need to turn it off, the breaker is in the panel at the head of the dock. We can't turn it off at the unit. So they're going to install that disconnect so we can. We'll have to repair the fire damage and replace all the flexible liquid-tight conduit and wiring. While we're at it, we should upgrade the receptacles on the dock to ground fault circuit interrupters as well. Since this is basically an emergency repair, I've contacted a couple of local electrical contractors to give us a price on doing this. I've also contacted Endurus to see if this might be covered, but it could very well fall within our deductible when it's all said and done. That said, anytime we spend any money for anything to do with the pump out unit, we get reimbursed by the State Department of Parks and Recreation. We sent in the reimbursement form requesting $1,248.86, which includes administrative time dealing with this issue, as well as current operations and maintenance costs. It was approved and electronically deposited in our holding account on Friday. Totem pole issue. Our totem pole here at the park is rotting out at the base and needs to be taken down and refurbished. After months of trying to find out which tribe it came from, we came to find out it wasn't a tribal gift at all, as we had been led to believe, but one from George Kenny. Therefore, we're not bound by any tribal issues that prevent us from taking it down and doing what's needed to refurbish it. Commissioner Cooper has been in contact with someone who can do the actual restoration work, but will need a boom truck to get it down. I've contacted James Kelsey, the artist in Belfair, who has one. He will come and do this for us, but says he has to charge us $180 because that's what it will cost him to do that. I told him I thought that was reasonable. If we were to rent a boom truck and pay Don to operate it, we'd be in it for a whole lot more than that. What we need to do now is coordinate this with Mr. Kelsey and the fellow Commissioner Cooper knows to move this forward. Parking at the North Shore. We previously discussed the potential of widening the space across from the North Shore boat launch for trailer parking. Olson & Associates has surveyed the property and marked the corners. Appeared to be quite a bit of marketable timber on the back of the property that could potentially be logged and generate enough money to pay for the project. I met with some loggers last week and came to the conclusion that the timber on the back of the property isn't worth harvesting. It will cost us more to take it out of there than we could sell it for. We did come up with another idea, however, and I've looked into what it will take to do this. That would be to harvest the timber on the outside edges of the cleared area of the property, which would widen it enough to park about 15 or 16 trailers and tow vehicles lengthwise. But what we would need to do is put in 2 culverts in the ditch at the road and cover them, make a new entrance and exit so we had a clear in and out pattern just like we do at the launch. I found out this is a county road and they have jurisdiction. I spoke with Randy Netherland about it. He said to get some information on exactly what we want to do and he'll see if he can help us make it happen. I drew up a sketch, which I've included in your meeting packets, and sent it to him. I also met with Earl Iddings, and he's willing to take down the trees on the perimeter of the cleared area in exchange for the wood, so we'd have no cost for that. He did send me what would be an invoice if he were to do that, or a bid for it. It would have been $2,900. But he said that since we did that rock in the parking lot, that has cut down all of the dust and problems that he's had over there, he's willing to donate that. This is a small project with big benefits for not just the port, but the community as well in terms of easier access to parking and safety considerations. It'll only take a couple of days to do, and I think we should be able to do this for a minimum cost, under $7,500, depending on the price of the culverts and permitting. But I'll research the cost and report back next month. Commissioner's voicemail. I received a call from Hood Canal Communications telling us that the server our voicemail resides on is going to be replaced and our phone system needs to be reprogrammed. Since all of you have mailboxes on the system that have never been used or accessed, they asked if you still want them. I thought what we could do is set up one general mailbox for the commission and have the message just say, specify which commissioner you want to leave the message for. The system can record the message and email the sound file to Leanne and or myself, who would either deal with the issue directly or email you the sound file. So this is on the agenda for discussion and a decision. Local attorney. When I first started here, the issue of using a local attorney for routine matters instead of Foster Pepper was discussed at length, and a decision made to use one in Shelton. That really didn't work out too well, as follow-up was problematic, which is why we have the current issue with the marina rules. Recently, I was approached by Bill Broughton, a Silverdale attorney, inquiring about our business for a new partnership he has formed with Ron Templeton that'll specialize in representing government entities. Both are very experienced in government law. Bill is a former city attorney for the city of Bremerton and currently works for a number of governmental clients, including junior taxing districts like ours. Ron is the attorney for Kitsap Transit, the Housing Authority, and several other government entities, as well as some of the smaller Kitsap ports. The rate would be $2.75 an hour. We currently pay Foster Pepper $5.75. In the interest of full disclosure, I've used Ron Templeton personally, and he is Wet Apple's primary attorney. He represented D&I personally in the eminent domain process with the city of Port Orchard. Bill Broughton is also the incoming president of the Kitsap Building Association, of which we are members, and I sit on their board. So the question would be, how do you all feel about using them for routine matters to cut legal costs and Foster Pepper for bigger, more complex matters? It's on the agenda for discussion and possible decision as well. Calendars. We have our 2019 calendars, and they've gone like hotcakes. We only have about 25 left. That's it.
Great.
Steel door for the kayak park. We had to order this, and it came in last week. Don should have it installed shortly. 3D building acquisition. I reported previously that the 3D building on Highway 3 that WashDOT used for offices during the widening project is for sale. I inquired about a governmental transfer, as I think this would make an excellent co-working facility, as it's already laid out for something similar. WashDOT said they couldn't do a governmental transfer unless we had some kind of transportation-related use in mind for it. So I've contacted all of our legislators, as I'm sure there's some way to make this happen. Representative Griffey is working on this, and I spoke with Senator Shelton Friday night. I'll report back when I have more information.
Is that actually listed? They don't have it listed.
It's listed on WashDOT's website.
Okay,
You know, they have a surplus real estate section,
okay.
and it's there. WPPA meeting schedules. The annual meeting is this week at the Hyatt Regency in Bellevue. The next thing up is a spring meeting in Spokane, which will take place from May 15th through the 17th. The annual Commissioners Seminar will be in July, but WPPA hasn't set the date or booked a hotel yet, but it will be done by the year end. So that's my report, except for old business. So if you want me to go into that, I can, or...
Yeah, let's go ahead and do that. The transient mortgage expansion.
Okay, yes, transient mortgage expansion project. Art Anderson has delivered the design documents and specs that we needed to get this out to bid. I've contacted MRSC to find out exactly what the process is that I need to follow to get this listed on their site. As I reported previously, the State Department of Archaeology and Historic Preservation forced us to do an archaeological survey on the 15 feet where we're going to be digging up the trench for power and water conduits. Bill Ray had suggested we'd have the survey done on the entire park because additional projects like the Oyster House will require one as well. That way we'll already have it done. Like the programmatic shorelines permit that'll cover all of our facilities for the next 5 years, this works the same way, will save us money and time in the long run. That survey was completed on November 21st and no artifacts were found. I'm waiting on the final report documents so I can forward them to the Department of Archaeology and Historic Preservation as well as the Squaxin Tribe. We'll also have to do a one-time SEPA report for the old launch ramp removal, so we'll do that one. So we'll do one that'll cover the entire park and all of our Allen facilities as well. Sweetwater Park, not much to report on this. Property transfer confirmation letter somehow got lost at RCO. When I was down there for the technical review on the property acquisition grant, I mentioned it to Kim Sellers. She said she never received it. So both Dana Rosenbach and myself retraced all our steps and got new copies of all the paperwork back to Kim. Spoke with Dana last week, and she said she had talked to Kim that day, who told her we should both be receiving something on this shortly. Oyster House, we received the preliminary engineer's estimates for the structural work for the Oyster House. It's a little over $712,000 and includes the cost of the old launch ramp removal, but doesn't include the cost of moving the building, permitting, and some other costs. I've included this in your meeting packets. We pass this on to the lobbyists so they can get our legislators up to speed on the project as quickly as possible. And just a few minutes before this meeting, I got an email from Trevor from the lobbyists would like to get together with us and talk about it. We're also at the end of Mike Ross's agreed upon time of donated work. He's expecting to be paid from this point forward. He's revising his proposed agreement for us, but I've yet to receive a copy, so I have nothing to pass on to you at this point. Perhaps Commissioner Scott has some additional information to share.
Yes, I do.
Okay.
Mike called me and he said he'll probably just kind of finish the drawings that he's got and then make a new proposal and probably submit that in January.
Okay.
So, and he will get that to me, I think, and as soon as he can get it, then he'll pass it on, and so we'll have some time to look at it.
Okay.
He is thinking about kind of deferring a request for another month or two, just because, you know, he knows that there's not going to be a lot happening until we get some money to do it.
All right.
So that's kind of where we're at.
All right. Criminalization of the marina rules. As I said at the last meeting, I would check with Kingston Commissioner Mary McClure about how they were able to write their own tickets. When I did connect with her, she told me she would need to check with their attorney and would brief me at the WPPA annual meeting. Commissioner Jackson's also working with Sheriff Salisbury, but you all heard what he had to say just a few minutes ago. Hopefully we'll be able to put this to rest. Kitsap All Ports Association, next Kitsap All Ports meetings, January 29th. And that's my report.
Great. Okay. Any questions for Larry or anything before we move on to new business?
No.
Election of the commission chair and vice chair.
So my status is this, is I'll be sticking around there for a few more months after January. It'll be tough for me to say that I can break away and make sure I can attend every meeting until after those couple of months, probably March. And then I'm confident that I'll take Mondays off or I'll be gone. So if it's possible, I don't mind being vice chair, but if you don't mind taking it at least.
Okay, yeah, we can, yep,
Okay.
Thank you.
thank you.
So we need a motion for all that?
Okay. I guess I can move, right? I move that we elect Commissioner Scott Cooper as chair for 2019 and vice chair Ted Jackson, Commissioner Ted Jackson. Do I hear a second?
Yes, I second.
All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, so moved. Congratulations. Or my sympathies.
You'll be hearing from me again every day.
Okay. Item, discussion of the appraiser for the property acquisition. Let me go back to that. We do need to move forward with it. Do we have enough? Any thoughts on that, commissioners?
Is that an estimate from them, or is that what we think it's?
That's
gonna
what they
cost?
quoted me.
That's what they quoted, just to do
Yeah.
that. And what's a residential appraisal cost?
Oh, $500.
Because it's the same thing.
Yeah, I know. I know.
Because it's commercial.
Because of
It
the
is.
zoning, that's the difference.
Right.
I did put $5,000 in the grant for it,
Right.
and we have to have that appraisal, whichever one we choose, reviewed, and I put $3,500 in the grant for that. So if we get the grant, we got plenty of money to cover it.
And I do agree that that property is valuable to us. I don't know how valuable it would be to anybody but us, but, you know, we should follow up with at least finding out what it's worth.
Yeah.
And so
So-
they wrote us a letter, they're prepared to sell, or they're willing
Yeah.
to sell, so, yeah, I think we should move forward.
Because, if we don't buy it, who knows who will buy it, and who knows when we'd have an opportunity again,
Sure.
and what the real estate market would be.
Right.
So do you have a choice for the appraisers, or have a preference?
My preference would be to stay local.
Yeah, the Silverdale.
Okay.
Schaefer, Sinnott, and Hernandez,
Like I said, I've used them
Me,
twice and
yeah.
been real happy with them.
okay? Do you need a motion on that?
Yes.
Okay. I hear a motion to accept the Schaefer, Sinnott, and Hernandez in Silverdale. That one is for 3,000.
I'll make the motion that we accept the Schaefer Senate Hernandez property appraisal quote for $3,000.
Second?
Second?
All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
So moved. There you go, Larry. Anything else on that, Larry?
No,
Okay,
not right now. I just have to contact them and let them know.
great.
And contact the property owner and let them know that they're gonna be hearing from them.
Good. Discussion of the commissioner voicemail. I have gotten mine used once, but that's been in 2 years,
Twice for me.
3 years.
3 years, right?
I do like the fact that our business cards have the business phone number on it, so, but I think consolidating into one to where one of you two get the
Yeah, and to pass it on.
data
Yeah,
file.
Because, if it's something simple, it's something we could maybe deal with.
Absolutely, yeah,
And,
yeah, and there's,
And if it's something that's, more personal or more, complex, then we can just pass it right on.
sure.
Would it save us money by consolidating?
No,
Okay.
it's not a money issue at all.
Just I don't have to chase different avenues
Oh.
for everything.
Then absolutely.
Yeah, it'd
just
save Leanne's time or my time on days she's not here.
So that's money,
Yeah.
yeah.
Well,
sure.
versus the way it does it now is it sends an email to each one of us. Now it's gonna send an email to a folder that
To
you'll have
both
to
of
address.
us,
Office.
and then,
Yeah,
but
but now you don't have to address it because it comes to us, so it'll
Right.
be more
But
time for you.
the other downside of that could be a public records issue. If we didn't know
Oh,
that
sure.
it came to you,
Yeah,
Voicemail.
and you didn't check your voicemail, we could,
Sure. Yeah,
Could have a
missed the
problem
deadline.
there.
Yeah, that's a good point.
but he said that, the mailboxes had only been accessed like 3 times in 2 years,
Yeah,
so.
once and twice.
Could be, okay. What kind of a motion do you need on that one?
I don't
Just-
need a motion,
okay,
I just need to know what to do.
Go ahead and have them put it in one box then.
Okay.
And the engagement of the local attorney. Well, it's almost half price. I'm kind of going for that. At least personally. Other commissioners, what do you think? I do like our attorney. They've been thorough and good.
Oh, they've been great.
Foster
Yeah,
Pepper.
yeah.
Yeah.
Very good. And they do know port stuff.
Would we have to put this new one on a retainer
No.
at any time? It's just if we were to call them up,
Right.
and it's $275. Yeah.
I'd rather pay $275 to get a question answered than $575.
Right.
That's
Yeah.
kind of where I'm at about it.
So we have a local attorney, and then we have the Seattle attorney for bigger issues.
Right.
Yeah. Bill Broughton, did he work for the county?
No, he was the Bremerton city attorney
ever
for a
like
number
a-
of years. And his wife was the CEO of the Kitsap Housing Authority when they were going through all the money problems. She came in after Norm McLaughlin left and, got a handle on where they were at and everything.
Bill's name is familiar to me, maybe it's just press and,
Yeah, he's pretty well known.
yeah.
And so is Ron Templeton. I've worked with both of them at, different things.
Did
and-
he leave the city of Bremerton, or was he
Yeah,
dismissed?
he
Oh,
left to go into private practice.
Okay.
And he was in private practice with somebody for a while, I don't remember who though. But him and Ron are just, they both do the same kind of law. They both found that they work together a bunch.
Do they have any
Decided that-
ports as clients now, do you know?
Ron does, I'm not sure about Bill.
Do you know
But
what
Ron
port?
has a couple of the smaller ports in Kitsap.
Was he a
And I
relative?
know he's done some stuff for the Port of Bremerton after Gordon Walgren died.
Okay.
I don't, how much he did or what he did, I don't know. And I don't know if he is their attorney now.
Okay.
But he was the attorney for the Housing Authority during all that financial mess, and I was on the board. I came on the board after the problem. I had everything to do with it. But Ron gave us excellent advice about dealing with that and the county $40 million loan and all of that. Ron put all that together.
Nice.
So,
Oh, good.
Yeah, seems like a, at least try it. I know we were trying to use Rob Johnson and
exactly.
Yeah. Yeah, I think would be a good move, personally.
Okay. And I've got established relations with both of them, so.
Okay. So the next item on the agenda is the appointment of the Washington Public Ports Association trustee. I think you were
I
it
am the
last
trustee
year.
now, and I attended the annual meeting, the trustees meeting, and don't mind doing it again. It's not a very big commitment, but it would be happy if somebody else wanted to do it as well. And you go to one trustee meeting, when everybody goes home, they have a trustee meeting, so
Yeah, so you get to
there's that
leave
part of
last.
it.
Are you interested?
Sure, hopefully I plan on attending most of the meetings this year, but
Okay.
if you enjoy doing it.
Yeah,
If you,
there was no problem doing
Yeah.
it, no problem not doing it, either way.
Okay.
Yeah.
You want to keep doing it then?
I'll keep doing it.
Okay,
Okay.
you're so appointed then.
And I think it was at the spring meeting. What was the Vancouver meeting?
That's spring.
That was spring, yeah.
meeting.
Yeah.
So that's when we had the trustees meeting.
Okay.
To have a motion for that?
Yeah, the spring meeting will be in Spokane.
Do we need a motion for that? I know that traditionally
At your
we used to
favorite
put it
hotel.
on that.
I'll be going to that.
I've got the form in front of me. Do you guys want to talk about the committees also?
Yeah.
There's finance, environmental, marina, and legislative.
Yeah, we each used to choose one or two, depending on what we wanted to
What
do.
your interest lies in.
And just so you know, I serve on Marina Economic Development and Government Affairs.
So is there 3 other ones you can take?
Finance, environmental, and legislative.
That's Government Affairs.
Okay.
Legislative is.
So that
I'll do
is
the
very-
environmental,
Okay.
so I can keep up with that.
I'll be the trustee.
Oh, okay.
legislator for me, Leanne.
I think that's the same Larry just said. It's government.
Yeah.
How about finance?
What about you? You're good at finance.
They meet in Olympia several times a year.
You want to do finance?
Usually
Ted,
like,
do you want to do finance?
That must start learning.
Yeah.
Okay.
Olympia, that's
Got it.
close to somewhere.
And are you staying the same for EDC, PRTPO, or any other organizations?
Well, I'm good with the
Yeah,
PRTPO.
I'm finally kind of figuring things out at EDC, so I'm more than happy to stay on that.
Yeah, you know what's really interesting about PRTPO, when I get done with my tenure here, it's really kind of, it's taken me a long time to figure out how it works, but it's really important.
Yeah.
Especially when, like even some of the issues, the bypass, being there, because PRTPO is the one that helps give their input on prioritization. And then all of the other projects, there's grants. Matter of fact, the problem, the bridge down at Union River on Highway 300, Salmon Enhancement or Salmon Center would like to try to get a grant for study, which PRTPO can do that, can provide monies for planning and studies. And they are doing that, matter of fact. So that's why it's really important to have somebody on there. So I
Yeah.
just wanted to let you know that if you ever want to come, matter of fact, they are meeting more now up at the Kitsap Airport. But it's during the day. usually at 10 in the morning on Friday mornings or Thursday mornings. But that, and there's usually about 20 people there from all different jurisdictions, Clallam, Jefferson.
Couple mayors.
Yep. Yeah, it's pretty well attended.
You had mentioned the proposed roundabout. Is that still the status of the roundabout? Is it proposed?
So
Okay.
far, I think it sounds like it's washed out. It really wants that. At least that's what Randy was saying.
Okay.
That, you know, I know that there's quite a big controversy about it, but I don't particularly like them, but studies do show that it does move twice as many. But anyway, that's down the road.
Sure.
Okay, anything else?
I was just wondering if, with some of the projects on our list, do we need to meet a second time this month? I know with holidays and,
I don't think so.
okay,
Yeah, with the Oyster House, we're not going to be having a regular meeting. Again, you know, with Mike being willing to be the project manager, he's been contacting me every week just to touch base, and so we'll be meeting with Bonnie this week, or this month, and just to find out more about how the grant that she's gotten, how we can spend that, how we're supposed to spend that, and get some of those questions answered.
You know, we should probably have one of the lobbyists at that meeting too.
Okay, that'd be a good idea. Also, guys, please be sure and look at the proposal from Art Anderson.
yeah. I was able to briefly look at it before the meeting, but
Yeah, that breaks everything down, and that's another thing I wanted to mention too about, in that proposal is the removal of the launch ramp. And I think that's something that, as volunteers from North Bay, I think that's something that we can do. We have volunteers that have excavators and stuff like that, you know, and dump truck. I'm still not clear who's going to volunteer on that yet. But that's something that maybe we can do. And of course, Bill Ray is on board with getting the permits and the timing. It would have to be done after July 15th. So,
why did this not include all costs? I mean, was there a specific reason to exclude moving or?
like,
He wasn't
Shoreline
asked to
permits.
include
Oh.
that. He was just asked to include the restoration of the
Construction.
building and the launch ramp.
Okay,
So-
and plus with the
And we already
moving-
had a bid on the move anyway.
Yeah.
right, that's true, yeah.
And with the interior work, we're still not exactly sure how we're going to pull all that, you know, pull that together as a plan. So that's something that in concert with, and it's kind of at the same time, we're going to try to get the North Bay Historical Society a little, you know, more focused on that. We do have the granddaughters of the sergeants who have been on board, and they were both there at the meeting as well, and they were getting, you know, enthused about helping, and they've just been a wealth of knowledge about how things went and how things were, so they're willing to help.
And this does include the new pier.
Yes. I think it does,
Yeah, it
doesn't it?
does.
Yeah,
It includes the launch ramp removal and the new pier.
which that's something that maybe
You know,
we
the
could take out.
pilings and whatnot. Although I think there's a caveat about the cost of the pilings depending on how they do them.
Yeah,
'Cause I just see on one of the pages it talks about moving the building. So it's just an estimation,
which one are you on?
page 6.
It's right on the top there.
Oh, to relocate
Yeah.
building to the new pier. Well, actually, that's kind of low from what we were told, but they did include that.
Yeah, somewhere else I read
Yeah.
that it didn't include that.
And it doesn't include plumbing or water in the building once it's moved. It doesn't include costs for markups for Port of Allen administrative costs, nor costs for shoreline, environmental, or other consultants, and doesn't specifically include costs for any permits.
Longshoreman's insurance, labor rates, that sounds expensive. Yeah, that total cost did not surprise me.
No, me either.
You know, what we wanted was something to get the lobbyists started.
Sure.
so.
Mhm.
Although Mike looked at this, he thought it was pretty,
Pretty good.
yeah, pretty on the
Yeah.
money.
Really appreciate them
Pardon
meeting.
the pun.
I appreciate them coming down, looking through it.
Bill Ray can help with this part here that's highlighted,
Shoreline,
markups of
Yeah.
cost for shoreline environmental or other
Yeah.
consultants, and doesn't specifically include cost for permits.
Oh, looking at this, they do have 21,600 in here for moving the building. but
Yeah.
The estimate we got was 30,
yeah.
so, for 29 plus insurance and stuff. I didn't realize that was in there.
And the lobbyists, what do they do with this document?
This is what they go around to all the legislators with and
They
say.
lobby with? Okay.
Gives
I
them
need
the
some money,
reason.
honey.
And they have this
Yes.
now?
That was the big push to get it, so they had something to work with. Because until we got this, we didn't really have a
There was
good
really,
handle on how much we were gonna need.
yeah, there wasn't really anything cohesive in writing. There were estimates. I mean, Mike Ross provided some stuff, and so did Bonnie. But to get this all in one package and,
And the
And-
fact that it comes from an engineering firm gives it a lot more
Sure.
credibility.
yeah,
You know, and it's an engineering firm that's done a lot of work for the state,
yeah,
so.
which was really helpful. That's great. So,
That was my only question.
pardon?
That was my only question.
Okay, anything from you,
No,
Ted?
no, I guess when are we gonna start with the permits, the hydraulic permits and stuff for down there? I mean, I know the window is, after work can be done after July 15th, but it's always good to get those permits in as quickly as possible because they take a long time to process, so.
Bill's already started on.
Has he?
On some of it, yeah.
Yeah, and I will get a meeting with him soon, probably after Christmas, I think.
I don't know what type of mitigation they want, or if they would want any. So
Well, this
the-
is, taking their launch ramp actually is the mitigation.
Or-
And they planted stuff down
Okay,
at,
they,
yeah,
Yeah,
yield
down at
grass.
the kayak.
Okay,
yeah. They already did plant.
okay, great.
Anything else on that? No? Okay, public comment. Hi, Ken, do you have anything you'd like to share?
Yeah, I would. Fine. Ken Van Busker from Belfair. There was some discussion about Sweetwater Park this evening, and I just wanted to suggest to you folks that you go down there and look at that property before you take it over finally. Just recently, there's been a couple no trespassing signs posted on that property. Back in July, I heard a chainsaw running up in there. It's a pretty big homeless camp in there. The cedar trees have been stripped of boughs, both on the private property and school district property. And the last I talked to the school superintendent, she told me that their attorneys were working on evicting those folks. And I know that the Board of Health has been informed as well. So I would just suggest that before you, sign off on that, you probably want to take your own look at it. It is pretty atrocious.
Are those homeless folks still in there? I saw the letter you wrote, and my comment was is that since the port isn't in ownership of that, that should be the responsibility of the private landowner and the school district to get those folks out of there.
That was my, quite a while ago, I suggested the same thing. And I don't know if they're still in there, I haven't gone in there.
Okay.
Last time I was in there, I got,
Yep.
yeah. So anyway, just wanted to let you know.
Thank you, Ken.
And it really should be the responsibility of the private landowner and the school to take care of that.
Are they taking the maple up there besides the cedar boughs?
I haven't seen any, I didn't spend a whole lot of time in there, because I was with a deputy. And I did notice the cedar boughs are gone, but I didn't see any maple down.
Okay.
So I didn't have a chance to walk through it all, but thank
All
you.
right. Thank you.
Well, hopefully, once we get it transferred, we can deal with it properly.
Send Travis over there.
Yeah. Do something anyway, deal with it. Thank you, Ken.
Have a good night.
Appreciate it. Dana, do you have anything you'd like to share? Okay. Anything else?
The last thing the All Ports meeting, I believe you brought it up a couple of meetings ago. I think that's an excellent idea. And after talking to Mr. Pastor, he thought that was an excellent
Good.
idea too. So maybe we could start working on that maybe for early first quarter of next year or something.
Sure.
So,
I know we always used to try to make it in January,
Sure.
but then it would snow on that day,
Yeah,
so.
Port could never make it,
Yeah.
and, or Delato.
He's
Yeah.
quite a guy though, isn't he?
I was surprised how much information he has and
Great.
knowledge, yeah.
Yeah, he's been in here talking to me a number of times.
I was wondering if you, Larry, or other commissioners have any information on the IDD in Grapeview that kind of,
No, but Dana does.
yeah. I
Yeah,
mean,
she did the reporting on
so
it. That was good.
I mean, I haven't read the article, sorry, but I just saw the signs popping up, no IDD, and I thought, oh, that's Grapeview doing an IDD, and
Yeah, they are.
Yeah.
but,
well, then I at least saw the picture in the paper of a pretty packed house, so there's a lot of interest in it. And
Yeah.
They've not talked to me at all about it. You know,
I
Bob
have-
Pastor came up here one day and talked to me, I don't know, a couple of months ago. But that's been it. I haven't heard from Glenn about it at all.
yeah, people have asked me about it, and I'm like, yeah, well, I don't know what the story.
So Dana, what's the story?
If I read the article, would I be better informed than I am right now?
Well, on a
right.
different note, I want to thank you very much for the wonderful article that you did on the Oyster House the week before, the last one.
Yes.
And, showed Mike Ross, and that was great. Thank you.
You do very good work.
Yes, thank you very much.
That's all I had, just wondered about the IDD and, I mean,
Yeah, you need
because
to read it, because I think they did decide to pass.
They did.
I mean, what's the name of it? I can't remember the name. It wasn't an IDD. It was a different term. She would know.
So I know it's not a local improvement district.
No, it isn't.
No.
And I thought that it was an industrial
No, it's not.
development district.
Oh,
It's,
gosh, I can't remember. the
I
name
can't
of it.
remember what it is either.
Okay.
I wish you guys had a
We could look
website.
up the
We could go look.
Grapeview
Yeah, can you fix that?
newsletters. I can't.
Well, that's great.
Well,
But-
I got asked about it today and I was like, I have no idea.
I think it's like a local development district. I think that was it.
LDD.
Yeah, it was not an IDD.
No, it wasn't an
But
IDD, but
Yeah.
I think it was.
What did the Port of Bremerton do to build their marina?
Oh, they did an IDD
So it's
kind
an
of in the
IDD.
middle of the night
Right,
at
yeah.
45 cents a thousand.
It was
Yeah.
definitely a stealth tax.
Yeah.
How long ago
Cost
was
two
it?
commissioners their
Probably
jobs.
about 7 years ago.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So
Six
not
years
the-
ago.
they're not doing the same as that?
Newsletters.
No,
Do we know what the project is?
I think they're trying to buy some land
Okay,
to
boat
do
parking.
parking and whatnot.
all right. I now know twice as much as I knew before I asked.
Now, the one for the Bremerton Marina, that was like a major,
Yeah, that was not good.
yeah.
I mean, legally, you don't have to go to the vote. You could do it legally, but it's a very high cost.
Well,
Okay.
I have one thing.
Yes.
I sent our first email newsletter blast little thing out about 2 hours ago.
You did?
It's got a little button on it to click for our
Wonderful.
website.
Thank you.
Yeah, so now I know how. So now you
Get a
guys-
copy of it?
Yeah, Leanne,
Are you on our email list?
Well,
It reminds you of the
email it to
meetings.
me. Ted had a question. for
can
you.
you, I don't know if Lakeland Village is on there, but they do a newsletter every month. And I think it'd be great to have the port, information on the port in that thing
Yeah, a
too.
little blurb or something
Yeah.
in theirs?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we don't do anything in the
I'll
North
call
Bay
up there and see
Review
if they
either,
got an
do we?
email, too.
Not anymore.
Do they still have the North Bay Review?
Yeah,
Yeah.
oh, yeah.
Yeah.
There's a big circulation.
Yeah, no, I wrote a, little blurb for them every month for a while.
Mm-hmm.
Who's the new
And
editor?
Then they didn't run like the last two that I wrote, so I was like, well, whatever. And I would only hear from Joyce every now and again.
Well, Joyce is gone, and so
Well, I
they've
know,
been
and
kind
they got
of,
a whole new crew of people
Yeah.
in there, and I've not heard from any of them.
oh, okay. Well, I know Ina's on board. I'll ask her.
Yeah, and I'm happy to do it. It's not a big deal to do.
Yeah, that'd be good to do, even if it's just a little paragraph and,
Yeah, no, I wouldn't have minded getting something in about like the calendars and
mhm.
because I did that on Facebook and I sent a press release out about them. So I did the same thing with our budget and, didn't hear anything about anything from
Well,
anybody.
I'll ask Ina, at
So.
least, she's my contact.
Yeah, I used to send that stuff to Joyce when I would send out press releases, but I don't even know who to send it to now. And
Yeah,
I
she told
called
me.
Windermere to ask and nobody returned my call,
Okay,
so.
I'll try to,
And they don't have a website either,
right.
so.
Dana, can you take care of that?
Great. Anything else?
Move to
Merry
adjourn?
Christmas.
Yeah.
Merry
Merry
Christmas.
Christmas.
Yeah.
I just sent it to you.
20
Oh,
days
I
away.
know.
And I'll check
I'm
everybody's
having a-
emails. I don't know that I.
Do you guys want to have a party?
I'm looking at my schedule. I mean,
Okay.
it'd be tough. Every weekend we're booked until it'd just be tough. If
Okay.
we decided on a date or something, I'd try to make it work.
Well, I am having a party with Reed Real Estate. I'm hosting the Reed Real Estate party, so you guys are welcome to come. Just have to notify, and it'll be fun, and I'm,
Doing a
Yeah,
We
bribe
we
did
rib?
that,
I'm
we did that
providing-
one year.
huh?
We did that one year.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah.
We could do it again.
That's a good crowd.
Yeah.
I like them.
And I'm providing prime rib,
I'll be
Hey.
there.
Well, you can't
but it's on the
really let us
13th,
know.
Oh,
so
that's
it's in the
right.
middle of the
Yeah.
week.
Caesar salad with
No
iceberg.
roaming.
Yeah, it would be interesting.
Yeah, what should we bring?
I got it.
I'm quite pleased with this. I was terrified to do that.
I'm not really sure, probably a salad.
But lettuce is poisonous.
Broccoli,
Well, I saw it, it
Ooh, I
said,
need
Potato.
it
this.
said
Vegetable tray.
lettuce is
Cauliflower
poisonous
salad.
and chocolate's good for you.
Yeah.
Somebody said, I've been living for this day my whole life.
Yeah. Told Heidi. Told you salad was bad for you.
I got a salad for lunch today from Safeway, and the checker was like, oh, we're selling salads again.
okay,
What's the date?
the 13th, 6 o'clock. Hopefully I won't get the whole county.
Well, you never.
Won't be, you're welcome to come. Really?
You don't even have to video us.
Yeah,
You can just hang
Couple
out.
pictures.
In
might be nice.
fact, we'd prefer you didn't.
Especially when we're caroling.
free food. Oh, yes, we do sing songs.
Yes, we do.
It's
Yeah, you
fun.
could show Bryce how to play his guitar.
Hey, sure, you could do that.
She gave Alex his first lesson. C
We
chord.
can sing 21 bottles of beer on the wall.
All right. I
Okay, anything else?
think we're adjourned.
We're adjourned. Thank you very much.
Oh, my phone's dead.
Merry